The government didn't just unalive a 35-year-old footballer in World War II, they accidentally created a legend named Tommy Cooper. Let me tell you how. Thomas Cooper, born on April 9, 1905 in Fenton, Staffordshire, had quite the humble start, being one of 8 kids in a working-class family. His dad was a bricklayer and Thomas himself worked in a coal mine before football changed his life. In 1931, he tied the knot with Beatrice Jean Raynor, and they had 2 kids. How's that for balancing family life with a budding football career? Well, in the blink of an eye, Thomas kicked off his football days with local clubs Longton and Trentham. But what do you think made the bigger clubs sit up and take notice? Well, it had to be his raw talent and grit. By August 1924, Port Vale saw something special in him and signed him up for just £20. He hit the ground running, playing in 21 matches in his first season, though his playtime dipped a bit the next year, but nothing could have prepared for the tragedy he was meant for. Despite a quieter second season, Derby County couldn't ignore Thomas's potential. They snapped him up for £2,500 in March 1926. Then, Thomas didn't just fill a spot at Derby, he became a cornerstone of the team, pushing them to secure a promotion to the First Division by finishing second in his debut season there. So, how did Derby fare with Thomas on board? Pretty well, actually. They held their own in the First Division, clinching 12th place initially and then rising to 4th and eventually 2nd in the 1929-30 season. They were a solid 10 points behind the champions the Wednesday, but still, that's impressive, right? Despite receiving a juicy offer from Newcastle United in December 1930, Derby knew better than to let him go. By 1931, Thomas was named captain. Under his leadership, Derby consistently performed well, even hitting that 4th spot again in 1933-34. His defensive prowess and leadership didn't just keep Derby competitive, they made him a local hero, a hero who was soon going to leave everything behind. Across his 16-year career in the Football League, Thomas racked up 430 league appearances and wore the England jersey 15 times. From working in a coal mine to captaining a top football team and playing for his country, Thomas Cooper's story is nothing short of inspiring. It really makes you think, doesn't it? How far can determination and passion take you? For Thomas, it took him all the way to the top of English football. After playing 267 games for Derby County, Liverpool's manager George Patterson decided it was time for Cooper to wear the red jersey, and he snapped him up for £7,500 in December 1934. Cooper didn't waste any time getting started. He made his debut just days later in an away game at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea. Unfortunately, it wasn't the debut he might have dreamed of, as Chelsea handed Liverpool a 4-1 loss. Despite not being a big scorer, his record at Derby only had 1 goal to it. Cooper was better known for his solid defence. He was one of the toughest tacklers around, and his passing was first-rate. Once he settled in at Liverpool, Cooper quickly became a fixture in the lineup. Much like he was at Derby, he played almost every match for the rest of the 1934-35 season and racked up 127 appearances out of 168 games over the next 4 seasons. But then, the government compelled him to participate in the Second World War, and we all know what happens at wars. You either win or you lose your life. His last official game before the war paused, everything was actually a sweet victory against Chelsea at Anfield, the same team he debuted against. Liverpool won 1-0 thanks to a goal from new player Cyril Dunn. When the war started, regional leagues popped up, and Cooper's last match in a Liverpool shirt came in one of these, a victory over Crewe Alexandra at Gresty Road. Cooper also helped out Wrexham during the war as a guest player. But before I tell you how he got unalive, internationally, Cooper had already made a name for himself back when he was with Derby, which led to him being capped 15 times for England. His first game for England was against Northern Ireland in Belfast back in 1927, but sadly they lost 2-0. Cooper was even given the honour of captaining England in his final 2 international appearances, although they were tough games. The team lost to Czechoslovakia 2-1 in one of them. If it weren't for a string of bad injuries, including having to have both knee cartilages removed, who knows how many more times he could have represented England. Despite these setbacks, Cooper's legacy in both club and international football remains significant. The thing is, Tommy was part of the Royal Military Police during World War II, and one of his main roles was riding a dispatch motorcycle, which was a pretty dangerous job at the time. Unfortunately, in June 1940, Tommy was involved in a serious accident when his motorcycle collided with a lorry, and he didn't survive. Each one of his fans who saw him as a local hero blamed the government for his death. The military was at fault, and that's why new rules had to be made no matter what. This tragic event led to a big change in the rules. After looking into what happened, the military decided that all dispatch riders had to wear crash helmets to keep them safer on the road. This new rule was all about making sure that what happened to Tommy didn't happen to anyone else, but sadly, our legend was lost. Tommy's funeral brought together a lot of his old friends, including 6 of his former teammates from Derby County Football Club: Sammy Crooks, Harry Bedford, George Collin, Douglas Duncan, Tom Davison and George Stevenson. They were his pallbearers, which really showed the strong bond they had with him, both as a sports team and as friends. It was a sad day, but also a moment to remember Tommy and the impact he had on his friends and teammates. It feels too emotional to think about him, and if you do too, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more such documentaries. Tommy Cooper's way of playing football was all about keeping it simple and sticking to the basics. He wasn't one to show off with fancy moves or push forward much into the attack. Instead, Tommy was a master at defending. He was great at stopping opponents, using his physical strength and sharp thinking to cut off plays and clear the ball at just the right time. His tackling was strong and smart. He didn't make many mistakes or unnecessary fouls. This disciplined style made him a key player for any team he was on, providing a solid and reliable presence in defence. When Tommy moved to Tottenham from Leeds, he didn't change his style much. Even as football tactics evolved, he stuck to what he knew best: solid defending. It might not have been the most glamorous way to play, but it was super effective. Tommy knew his role inside out and did his job really well, ensuring his team's defence was tough to break down. Tommy Cooper's legacy in football is about being dependable and tough. He might not have been the star in the spotlight, but his work on the field was crucial. Fans and teammates saw him as a reliable backbone of the defence, someone who would always deliver, especially when under pressure. In a time when football was as much about heart as it was about skill, Tommy's name was synonymous with dedication and steadfast performance. In the end, all I can say is that Thomas Cooper's story isn't just about a footballer, it's about a legend whose legacy stretched beyond the pitch, even into the regulations of wartime duties. Imagine a man whose life revolved around football, from playing in the coal-dusted fields of Staffordshire to wearing the national jersey. Tommy's tale is one of triumph, tragedy, and ultimately, transformation. His untimely death during a wartime dispatch ride didn't just mark the end of a promising career, but also led to a change in military safety protocols, ensuring the safety of many others. It's important how his impact extended beyond his immediate world. Tommy Cooper's legacy is a testament to how far passion, grit, and resilience can take you, proving that sometimes heroes are made in the most unexpected ways. That is it for today. Let us know what you think about Tommy in the comments section below, and as always, we'll catch you tomorrow with another exciting update.